Javelins, freelancers, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to AnthemCast, the post-PAX, the PAX hangover episode, if you will. Still sleeping, still relaxing. I'm one of your hosts, Ogaz. But of course, as usual, joining me on the other side of the planet, who is a man who hasn't, unlike me, had to spend the last 20 minutes trying to get a bird off of his apartment balcony. I think you haven't had that problem. I certainly have. But Mr. Binary Numb, how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm good, my friend. Yeah, very good. Sunny day in England, and yeah, it's actually roasting. So I'm good. I'm now 32. It was my birthday.
You had a
last week.
birthday on Thursday, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did. Um, so yeah, 32, but there was no teabagging and a toga in the Roman baths, which I'll happily say the general populace of Bath were very happy about. But how have you been, mate? Good.
I mean, good. Up until, as I said, half an hour ago, there was a bird on my balcony, and it was stuck. And the balcony is quite high, and it couldn't flap its wings enough to get over the balcony, and it was just shitting all over the balcony. So I'm running around 9 o'clock at night trying to catch a bird in the dark. It was great, but I caught it.
No.
I got it in a box, and I'm still here. I'm alive.
You made it.
I made it through. Unfortunately, it's been something to get there because we've had a hell of a weekend. We've had conversations. We've had of course, PAX panel. We've had a trailer drop. We've had announcements about demo drops and more in the last 48 hours. So it has been exciting. I literally have been just doing house-related items, and then in between every piece of house-related item, catching the trailer again and again and again and again, watching it on the phone, watching it on the iPad, watching it on the PC. Any device that I had access to, I kept hitting play. My wife was, I think, getting a bit sick of it. What's your last 24 hours been like?
Putting together more furniture.
Oh, good.
No, not good. I've had enough. No, I'm not putting any more furniture together. But no, I've been playing a lot of Gambit, mate. Gambit on Destiny 2. If anyone, hey everyone in Twitch chat, by the way, good to see you all. But I have been playing a lot of Gambit, and Gambit is very fucking good. But you need a team. Like if you got a team together, you do all right. But
NJX just in the chat said Destiny 2. Ew. Yeah, we won't talk too much about Destiny 2. I do have a little love in there for it, but I don't think I'm going back there. I'm spending too much time, as we have been in the Discord and as I said, in the trailers and all the content that they've been dropping in the last 24 hours, media, articles from EA. It's a little barrage. It's a small barrage. It's a mini barrage, but it's certainly a barrage of media and content that they've dropped. Although many people have sort of, I guess, made the point that, from the panel that we saw, which if you haven't checked out the full panel, you can indeed check that now. Just go to YouTube and you can check that out at Anthem Universe. But I mean, what were your thoughts and takeaways? You actually saw, I saw the panel in very broken bits and pieces. I was jumping in and out, doing a few other things and tweeting and whatnot. You managed to capture all of it as well for us. What were your, I guess, initial thoughts?
Well, clearly Halleck is a fan favourite. Yeah, no, it was actually a really good panel. It was informative. They answered some questions quite honestly. There was some. You could obviously tell that it was well versed and they'd well rehearsed it. But there was a nice balance between all from Mark Duras from Root Sort. I always forget her first name. What's her name? What's the first name? Lisa Root Sort.
On the panel?
Yeah, the first what's Root Search?
Kathleen?
Kathleen, there we go.
Kathleen Bristol. Yeah.
I always think Lucy. I don't know why. Anyway,
Ran. Kathleen, Lucy. I can understand.
Yeah. And then you had Mike Gamble as well. Tell you what, that guy's got a chin, right? You should put him in a boxing ring. I swear, he's got himself a big chin, man. It looks like he could take a pounding. And
Oh, don't take that out of context. Good lord.
And then I forget the other two's name. Is it Chris? Who's
Yeah, you
the,
had
the lead, the sort of lead quest designer, and then I always forget the other girl's name.
so you had Sabine. So you had Nick
Sabine, that's
Tarabay
it.
leading. You had Mark Dara, Kathleen Brewster, Victor Krengle in terms of design, Sabine Rosgren in terms of quests, and of course Mike Gamble in production. In producer we've seen many times on Twitter and elsewhere. So you're. I mean, a lot of people talked about, in particular, Nick almost being a bit of a distraction because he really came out really hamming it up. But his approach was very jovial, and he was, very. You could see he's very connected and proud of being in this new world because he's used to TV and film. So for him, this is like a new journey, and he was being very vocal about that new journey and excited and just very jovial. And people sort of actually said it a few times that he's actually getting a little bit annoying because he was interrupting and sort of every time someone said the word Halleck, he just went, yeah, like just so
He was funny though.
yeah.
He was funny, and he actually added what the panel was missing, which is just a little bit of humour. Because the guys that everyone they had on there was very serious and straight talking. I think probably actually Mike was probably the only sort of loose guy that was on the panel. Mark Dorrar is pretty dry, right? He's pretty dry when it comes to sort of public speaking. But no, I think he gave. Yes, there were maybe two occasions where he interrupted. Out of an hour, like Christ, like I have more trouble at work. So
Yeah, look, I think, I mean, I've hosted actually quite a few panels with conferences and just in the business world, and I know there is a it's a challenge because as like an MC or as a conference host, you're driving the conversation, but you've also got people that are prepared and they know what they're going to say in terms of not like exactly, they have a reasonable script or guideline of questions, but it's really nerve-wracking for the panel, and you can kind of see it in just their fidgeting, their behavior, their looks, all of them to a certain degree. Even Mark Dara looked a little bit uncomfortable at different points in the panel, and it's really normal when you're on a panel. And to be fair, your main motivation is developing a game, and now you're on a panel on stage with a chair and a table in front of you and a mic that comes into this point. All those things together in front of a massive crowd, it just makes it very different. And it's up to you as a conference guy and as a host to actually break that ice. And I think, as much as I thought it might have been a bit too much sometimes, but he really did create a bit of an energy that, as you say, they just wouldn't be able to create, to be perfectly honest. And even if they did create that kind of energy, it would almost come across a bit fake.
It would come across very forced.
Like insincere. So he was actually a perfect scapegoat because they could throw the football to him to be and ham it up and really have a play out there. And I think it meant that it was actually interesting. It wasn't a very dry, awkward panel. It actually became something quite
it was good,
watchable.
I thought it was a really, really good hour. I know I did enjoy it. Yeah, very good.
That said, did you learn anything new in the panel? Was there much to see in the panel?
I would say that probably about 80% of it was more reaffirming what probably we already knew. There was definitely some new bits in there, right? So, actually, I'm going to bring up just the image slideshow of some of the images that they actually sort of showed us. Well, they're rotating a little bit quickly. Let me just see if I could slow that down a little bit.
They go on super speed.
yeah, super speed. So they showed some images, and it was quite interesting actually. 'Cause Mike Gamble, he was like, it was a little bit courtroomy, right? He's like, can you bring up this slide now, please?
I present
can you
evidence
bring up
one
this slide? It was like CSI courtroom edition. Yeah. It was good, and they showed us some images, right? So we got to see things like this. We sort of now understand sort of what the Sentinels are, right? So the Sentinels being the the javelins that are white, and we've seen them from the very beginning in the first gameplay in the first trailer actually, as you're walking through. Back in 2017 E3, right, when you got that first person view walking through the market, and we see some javelins. So we got to see some pictures of those. So we understand now they're sentinels, so they look after mainly for Tarsis, right, and sort of the human enclave that is left, and they're sort of very reminiscent, and they're not too fond, or they don't see the point of freelancers. So there is sort of some level of sort of hostility between freelancers and sentinels. Then we sort of got to see a little bit more of Tarsis and sort of the world as well. So we got to see some more statues, introductions to some new characters as well. They also covered off a little bit of how the story mechanics on what was really interesting. They called it real-time storytelling, right? Which that was the biggest thing for me, was this whole real-time storytelling that they keep talking about. And this is where they broke off and started talking about how, so that the main story arc and the main beats that you'll get through the campaign or the move through the main story will always happen, right? That they will happen. But if you really want to understand and build depth to the characters that are part of the main story, that's where you physically have to choose and go and spend time with those characters and go and do side missions or quests and stuff like that to really start to understand who they are. And they're really starting they're really being very strong with their language, and they're talking about, you'll start seeing nuances within characters' behaviors, and that will affect in the way that they treat you later on in the game and stuff like that. So it was quite interesting at how they're going about this real-time storytelling. But then there was a question that actually came right at the end. It was like, do I have to do any of this story stuff? Can I not just go around and shoot things, right? Which affects it. And they're like, actually, yeah, you can just go around and shoot things. You don't have to do the main story if you don't want to. I'm assuming there'll have to be. You'll have to follow the main story arc, but to really deep into the lore and character depth and how they're sort of creating those narratives between each of the all the different characters, the plethora of characters and agents that you're going to be meeting is completely down to you.
So it's totally confirmed. If you want that pew 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 time, you can take it all you like.
Yeah, exactly. We also got introduced to sort of a bunch of new the faction sort of leaders, right? So we got to meet Mathis, which was one. So he's like an ex-Dominion guy. So he's obviously one of the main agents that you'll go.
Oh no, was he the Arcanist? I think.
The Arcanist. Sorry, no.
Matthias was the Arcanist. So Matthias is the chap that you're seeing on screen. He's been rotating around a little bit in the last few minutes.
He's one of the bald guys.
He's the bald guy without a beard. He's the guy that's not Arix. Arix, have you heard, has claimed that the Harrow, the freelancer that you see cycling in this scene with the beard, is actually Arix in the future. So.
Fair cool. So what was his name again? He was
the
guy that's up now. Harrow. That's right. The guy that's up now.
So he's a freelancer.
That's right, and he's trying. That's right, because I remember the story out now for him. He's trying to bring back the what the freelancers used to be, right? So he's trying to bring back the respect that freelancers used to have by being. The freelancer that we all want you to be.
I was going to say, do you think it's going to be like, Athens, like he's going to be up on a soapbox going, and then they came, and then the freelancers were won. And,
Grandpa Arix, Alan. Yeah, absolutely agree.
Next. Like, you're just going to walk past Harrow, go, woo! Just keep walking, guys. Don't worry about Harrow.
Crazy old coot again. Yeah. And then we saw Leighton. He was another one. So Leighton was he was the ex-Dominion, wasn't he? I keep forgetting. Leighton,
yes,
the one with the hood. Yeah.
With the hood. Yeah. Was there a story mentioned or anything mentioned in reference to Leighton? I'd had the audio off at that point.
No, I'm trying to think. 'Cause there was so much. I'll have to watch it again actually to try and understand that a bit. And then we just got to see more of a walk around through Tarsis, and it was great. A little excuse me, a little bit more context to the people that we're going to be interacting with, which is actually quite unique. I don't know many games, even sort of going back to like Dragon Age, for example, where they would go into sort of the storytelling or how they're going to be telling the story. So they've clearly put, you know, a lot of work into how the story is going to be told, and the actual the first person or the single player story, or this, you know, real story in real time. They've clearly put a lot of work into it, to want to spend that much time talking about how you're going to be interacting with it.
I think, well, to be fair, I think it's also, when we've talked about it in previous casts, but I think it's BioWare's need to be able to draw the line between those audiences.
Yes.
So, you know, to be a cynic for a moment, it you know, this is real time storytelling. It's a marvelous value proposition. You know, it's marketing 101. I don't know what that means yet. In particular, the statement, "You are the link between the heroic adventures in our world and the personal journey of yours." Like, so it's trying to sort of say your actions, you're the connectivity between the world that you'll experience, you know, in free roam, in multiplayer, and in your personal tale in Tarsus. And like, my brain struggles to compute how they will so, you know, evocatively, so sequentially integrate those two. It's going to be like, if they can pull it off, holy smokes. But it's a tough gig to expect those two worlds for you know, for that marketing to fulfill itself, and for you to be that link and have that happen on both sides. I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful. But that's a tough gig.
Yeah.
I don't envy the designers.
No, not at all. And it was, and you know, Mark Doral was talking a little bit about how the complexities that they had around being able to tell a story in a multiplayer game, right? So the different tools that they would have to use, and the tools they had to take away to. So we are, you know, they did say we will get some story out in multiplayer when we're out in Anthem, in a multiplayer mode, and they will be obviously story bound lore. You know, videos or lore as per that video, but as per that mission, for example. But everything else I'm looking for, it looks amazing, like the depth and time that they seem to be taking. I've not seen anything yet that really worries me, which worries me, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not finding anything that I'm going, oh, do you know what, I'm not too sure about that. I'm actually seeing stuff that actually looks good.
Well, to be fair, I mean, they are controlling, you know, in very specific ways what you're seeing and when, aren't they? I mean, they're not just letting it all out of the bag straight away. Obviously, we hinted at recently, BioWare had hinted at recently that there'd be more soon on Interceptor, and we did indeed see a couple of screens, particularly two main slot shots, which we'll take a look at in the gameplay trailer shortly, where Interceptor action appeared. But to be fair, it was pretty brief, and a lot of us, I think myself included, was very much on the opinion that we'll probably see a little bit of Interceptor love at PAX, and I think we saw some, no doubt about that. I'm not sure we saw as enough as I expected.
No, I was definitely expecting a little bit more around some of the, especially around Interceptor, but I don't know what they're waiting for in terms of events, because there isn't any real big events now up until release. So they're just going to have to do the same, you know, where you got Mark Doral and John Warner back in the spaceship talking over gameplay video. I think that's probably where we're going to have to.
What is there? Is there? What is there? Like, there's a Sony event, isn't there? Does Sony have their event in October? Is it? I can't remember now. I've gone completely blank. I'm sure there's a last quarter Sony event, typically Sony centric. I think it's October, November. There was last year. And other than that, you're right. You got that. You got PAX Oz, but again, like it's not like there's anyone in BioWare. There's no BioWare centricity in Australia.
Well, that's true. Well,
Although there is an EA.
Just said that there's the Tokyo Game Show, and there
you
is the
go.
Paris Game Week.
There you go. TGS though, is Anthem a TGS game? I'm not sure where it'll hit. What market would it hit? I guess giant robots. Giant robots works in Japan.
Giant robots do work in Japan.
You can't go wrong with a robot. But good point. And Mad Haber in the Twitch just mentioned there, what BioWare has had presences at the Game Awards in December. Okay, fair call. Potential.
Yeah, Game Awards season.
Yeah, but as you say, and as we talked about in June, you know, their E3 is done, isn't it? Like their biggest events, really, like the most centric ones that the majority of gamers, you know, chime into, check out YouTube, you know, watch on the Twitch, get up at the same times to watch, is pretty much, you know, PAX, Gamescom, and E3, and they're done. So the journey ahead is interesting to see where we're going to go from a marketing point of view, and what the timing of the releases will be, what the timing of future marketing will be, and of course, more information, no doubt, will be coming from BioWare in due course.
Yep.
Excite. Last point before we go to the trailer. One of the lines that was mentioned in there was, "You are here," and I quote, "You are the key to the fate of everyone." You are the key to the fate of everyone. So, remember we talked how this game was very unlike what I guess we associated with things like Mass Effect, for example. You know, Mass Effect, you were the Spectre, you know, which really, to be perfectly frank, was a Jedi. You know, it was BioWare telling their own Star Wars, and to be perfectly frank, actually doing it better, I think, in some instances. But this is the time now they've said, you know, you are the key to the fate of everyone. I've always felt like I'm a guy in a ragtag suit trying to make ends meet, you know, struggling in a system and in a town and in a market city that doesn't really have everything. And I'm just inconsequential to the whole game. I'm a hero, but I'm a hero to myself. But that quote, "You are the key to the fate of everyone," did that reach out to you?
Well, yes and no. It's a pretty strong line, and I think that's a line that is really going to be bolted around the story arc to find out where that main campaign takes you.
True, and at the very end of that line, it actually the camera centers on Halleck's face, and a very worried Halleck's face. So, you know, are they alluding to the fact that there's going to be those tough decisions? Are we going to lose some of our Strider team? Are we going to have to make a choice at some point? Knowing BioWare, I wouldn't put it past them.
No. And I was glad to find out, actually, that Halleck was a freelancer. We said that, didn't we? When we first came across him, we were like, I bet he's like an old freelancer, or like he's not washed out, right? But
yeah,
he was. Yeah.
We always had the feeling. I mean, we knew he had the suit, but I always kind of thought, you know, he was of the old guard, certainly, but not quite exactly what he was doing in that suit, and what its purpose was for him, and what was the battle he was fighting, you know. But I suspect we'll find more about that soon, because it seems like he's going to be the mentor for our team moving forward.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, look, as I said, the biggest news we think, or aside from that, of course, was the demo confirmed date.
Oh yes, for the 1st of February 2019.
Right, so that's what, 20 odd days before launch.
No, it's more than... Is it 20 odd days, I guess? Yeah, that's right.
I believe 22nd launch, yeah.
So it's not a beta, right?
No.
So it's an interesting ploy, right? Because it's clearly not a beta. They are calling it a demo. So I'm guessing it's going to be a vertical slice of some kind, which you're going to have to download, but you only have access if you are a pre-order, so you've pre-ordered. But they haven't quite said, right, if you've pre-ordered through a retail shop like GameStop or EA Games or Game or EB Games, or something like that, whether if you've got your code already, or whether you'll be emailed the code, or how you get access. If you've bought digitally, obviously, then generally if you've bought digital already, they will already know whether you've bought it or not. And then if you have EA, Origin, Premier as well.
You can't deny, like, I mean, I look after product in my company, and I just I can't help but think the mind blow that the variations of product line would be with this game. It's hard to lock down, and I think some of the gamers are getting a bit confused. And to be fair, the guys are doing really well on Twitter. Dara in particular, Mark Dara, is answering quite a few questions, which have been answered a lot of times in the last couple months.
Compared to the Division 2's new pre-order thing, right, which had about 8 different versions that were all continent specific.
Yeah, I was going to say region specific. Yeah.
Right? So if you can get more complicated than that, then no, it's not that complicated. They have 2 versions. You choose to buy the cheap one or the more expensive, and it's how you want to buy it.
Yeah.
And you have to be clear as well. I've seen quite a few people get confused, right? So on PC, you do have Origin access, which is only £20 for the year. And that gets you access to all the Vault stuff, but not the new releases. If you want the new releases, then you have to upgrade to Premiere, which is about £80 for the year, which is like $120, $140. So it's quite a lot of money. But then obviously you get Battlefield 5, you get all the games on the PC when they come out, which I suppose actually isn't actually that bad if you play a lot of EA games.
All good. And I thought NJX just pointed out in the chat, which is a very good point, that there is a newsletter. If you go to the EA website, the EA Anthem site, you can actually sign up to the newsletter, which will put you in the chance to get access to that demo, even if you haven't pre-ordered. Now, I suspect that would probably be pretty good odds. I mean, I don't think they're going to be sitting there going, oh, no, this guy's not going to get it. So it's quite probable that a vast number of people that do subscribe to that will get the opportunity to play that demo on February 1st. So it's still a long way out in terms of that. But as I say, it's a very refreshing way of looking at the world. To think that there is a game demo being launched in 2018 is not a bad thing. As we said last time, we were used to it in the 90s. It was commonplace to have a demo. So this would be a good chance for people to have a go at what's going to happen in the future.
Yes, right.
And of course, and Alan Sinner in the chat also mentioned it. I'm going to try to pretend to be Alan right now. My retailer says that they will send the code near probably 1 day before the demo starts. Sorry, Alan. Don't know why you sound like that, but it's just the way it was. It said my retailer. It's very. I like that. But thank you for letting us know. So it looks like, as you say, I suspect retailers will be releasing that code to consumers closer to the date. And to be fair, it's quite probable they don't even have that information right yet. As per retailers in Australia actually had the wrong release date going on over here for a few days there. One of our guys pointed out that Ukamiyo has been actually looking at that in the in our Discord, which is discord.anthemuniverse.com. And he's been uncovering the secret dates of why Australia is getting the game 3 days early. But I think we found out that we're not. It's all a lie.
I was going to change my region too, just to do that.
Yeah, you could have, but no, not to be. Well, you don't need to, because you've got the pre-order on the Origin access, don't you? You're going to have Origin Premiere.
I don't have Origin Premiere. I bought the game.
Ah, okay. Well, you can still get Origin Premiere later.
Yes, I might do.
Get the early access. Look, let's the last point, of course, the third point of today. The rule of 3 is a beautiful thing. The first thing we talked about, of course, was PAX in the panel. The second thing was the release date for the demo, and third, of course, is the trailer itself. So we think what we might do is do a bit of a breakdown, take a look through the trailer, do a frame by frame. Not too long. We don't want to spend 3 hours on this thing, but I want to just spend a little bit of time going through our thoughts on what we're seeing, and certainly keen to hear the chat as we progress there as well. So I'm going to pan across to that puppy now, Binary. I'm going to hit play, and I think will that just feed straight through now?
Yeah, it will feed straight through. You just got to start the video from scratch.
Fantastic. So let's start this puppy as we do this. May contain content inappropriate for children. Okay, pause. We got 1 second. Well, it was good to see, and this is the first time we've seen the logo juxtaposed with the brand philosophy. So this idea of Our World, My Story, they've never had that really written. It's very been like a vocal sort of conversation, but they have it 1 second in already. Something different, something to keep an eye out for.
Oh, I just love that.
Anthem.
You like that?
I love that. That looks very... I'm trying to think what game this reminds me of, right? But it just reminds me of some elven castle from like a game like Lineage 2 or...
It does.
It's so Dungeons and Dragons.
But the visual, this castle, and of course, if you're not watching the visual right now, it's the outside shot of Fort Tarsus. But the funny thing about this was, they've spent a lot of time talking about this, but the term that they use later in this clip is that Tarsus is a bustling trader town. So when you've got bustling trader town, and then you've got this, it like that outside wall. It doesn't seem like a bustling trader. It seems like a grand city, but I guess perhaps it once was a grand city.
Yes. Yeah. Or Lord of the Rings. One of the two.
All of the Rings. Yeah, very good.
Is the concept
Elven
of
castles.
Our World, My Story. The unique combination of a dynamic,
great wall.
ever-changing world and a powerful...
So this shot, a dynamic, ever-changing world, was the line there. This scene, this image here that we're seeing with these arcs, and it's like a city of destruction. It gives me off. It makes you think of some Mass Effect levels. I can't think of what planets now, but I'm getting a real Mass Effect vibe from this shot. Very BioWare. Do you think this is another place? I mean, is this outside? There's no jungle here. There's no rainforest here. It doesn't look like it's Tarsus.
Go back 3 seconds. Let me see.
3.
Yeah.
Personal story. In our world, you band together with friends.
Yeah, that was the top of the wall, right? That was literally that was the top of the wall. It was nice to see a different segment jump off the wall, though.
That's true.
But just so you're clearly jumping off the top of Tarsus, right? But like, how deep that looks is mental.
Yeah. It and it's the first time, if you think about it, that we've actually seen all the javelins jump off Fort Tarsus together.
Yes.
So it's a little bit iconic. I'm going to keep playing.
It's a vast shared landscape teeming with danger.
Whoa. That was a motherfucking dragon.
Right there. So that dragon shot. Now, where are you right now? Can you see that you've got a dragon on screen? Or?
No.
Well, I think we're slightly out of sync. I don't think this thing's synced properly, but that's okay. So you saw dragons. Maybe you take control. It might be because of the feed.
Teeming with danger.
Are you seeing something new?
Yeah. All right. So the dragons. What are your thoughts? Are you happy for dragons?
The world narrative advances for your whole team.
Yeah.
It advances for
Shared
landscape teeming with danger.
Anyway, there is clearly a wide range of beasts because those are motherfucking dragons. I love dragons.
Alamson says no. They're definitely wyverns.
Wyverns. Oh no. Wyverns, dragons, fire-breathing lizards.
Fire-breathing lizards with wings. Yeah. That was nice to see. So you're going to be. I mean, do you think is it just going to be environmental? So you're trying to battle the Dominion or the Scar, and you're going to have these random creatures flying out of the sky?
Well, I'd be interested to see if if they are controlled at all by any of the other factions. Right, so we did see some other creatures as well. I'm sure you will see it once we're only 20 seconds in, but once you start to see it, there's clearly a wide range of different creatures, and I sort of wish they'd talk more about it, but obviously they're going to keep that a secret and sort of let you find out how you come across them. But that looked pretty mental, right? You got this big creature hammering you from the side, and then all of a sudden these wyverns or dragons decide to come up and flame your ass from the sky. Yeah, very cool, man.
So more beasts, as you say, more monsters. Now, are you able to see this rock formation coming up with this face?
Oh, there is a face. Yeah.
So if you see that face there, now is it a shaper? Is it a god? Is it what would be in the rock face?
It's Mike Gamble's chin.
It's Mike Gamble's chin. It's definitely.
I told you had a rock hard chin. That's it.
I agree. Alan Simmer in the chat mentions that he doesn't think it looks human, and I think it's a fair call. There's something pronounced about the nose and the mouth and the cheeks at the bottom there. Yeah. It might be of humanoid-esque form, but it seems to be more alien than typical human. It actually reminds me of what was that? Anyway, it's another BioWare character. It's completely escapes me. It's an alien-like creature.
It's no sexy Solarian, is it?
No, it's no sexy Solarian.
World narrative advances for your whole team. Together.
So that shot that just passed with the 4 javelins, that was iconic. I really like that. The glowing red, the flyer, the flames, and then of course we get to see Old Mate Ranger in full action.
You'll confront countless enemies.
Boom.
That's just. But the thing is, the sound. It sounds satisfying, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, it sounds good, man.
Yeah, and I think that was the one thing from the first trailer way back in 2017, when we saw that rocket shoulder, that shoulder mount just let havoc
barrage,
on that barrage with scars going on. That was cool.
Who threatened to take control of the Anthem?
Now remember there was an art piece here. This is obviously a scar that we're looking at, and there was that's
an interceptor.
What are you looking at right now?
An interceptor with like a twirly thing in the middle.
All right, you're going to take control. I think when I stop and start, I don't think we're in sync.
As well as
Really?
Yeah, I was a frame ahead of you. But yeah, so the Inti's looking at this portal thing, right?
Yeah.
Those who threaten to take control of the Anthem.
Okay, stop. So this environment, what are you seeing like an underground environment here?
Yeah, like a man-made tunnel with like a swirling, well, it looks like some type of storm in the middle, with an interceptor on the left.
Yeah, right. So like this environment and the environment that we're about to see shortly after, there's like an underground, there's a broken bridge, there's spotlights, there's electricity. There's something about this that I think is interesting. It's, as you say, very man-made. Certainly not alien from what we're seeing.
Okay. I've just up.
By taking on explosive.
Oh, there we go. See that? So then we had the interceptor actually seeing a little bit of interceptor movement.
Yes. This is the first. This was like I called it a dash and crash attack.
Yeah. Basically a blur.
Mm.
Now, what was funny was Mike Gable. Is it Gamble or Gable? Gamble. So he literally said the interceptor doing its ninja thing.
I like that technical term.
Yeah. So everybody said, we were saying, right, that we're hoping it's going to be like some type of ninja assassin. Mm-hmm. And that is literally what he said in the panel.
Yeah. Well, we've always called we called Inti a ninja from since E3, haven't we? Really.
Yeah.
In fact, I think his emoji in our Discord is just called Ninja. So, to be fair, I think we're on the money. That's good.
Yep.
But it is exciting nonetheless. It is the first time that we actually see Inti, well, other than the previous frame when he was with the crew, in full action by himself, where the actual player or the person controlling this particular character is finally controlling Interceptor. So it's working. We know that they've got it. They've got it working.
All right, shall I press play?
Fire away.
Missions offered by agents who need your help.
So this looks stunning.
Yeah.
Underground, right? It doesn't look like a jungle. Like underground, this cavernous area that looks quite desolate. Like that looks stunning to fly through.
Yeah, I think it answers the questions because I mean, like even we raised that point because when we were looking at the world map when that was sort of brought into scope at the last trailer, a lot of conversations were about, well, to what extent is this the limits of the map, and is there anything else out there? And it was actually confirmed on Twitter. I can't remember if it was with Dara or whatnot, but that to an extent, this is the world that you're seeing. But as you say, there are elements underground, elements above, and environmental effects that clearly are going to make a difference for us. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
These missions take you deep into the heart of Anthem, while
This is
also
cool.
developing the personal
So this is like a mine shaft or something?
So that did. Yeah. That was like an Assassin's Creed Origins crossover, right?
It felt like a tomb in a pyramid.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
All right.
each agent.
Trust me, I'm a person you want to know.
Whoa. So she was on her knees.
Mm.
And apparently we want to know who she is.
Mm.
But she's the leader of the Sentinels, right? What was her name? Bree?
Escapes me. No idea.
Is there anyone else in chat remember? I think it was Bree. Bree? Brian? I think
Rings
it
a
was,
bell.
no, Brian. Definitely, I think it was Bree. Bryn. There we go. Steve.
Thanks, Alan.
Steve. Alan.
Rodney.
Yeah, that's right. Bryn. Yeah.
Outside of the battles, there's free play. A chance for you to explore solo or with friends. Uncover answers to your questions about Anthem.
That shot where... So what are you looking at right now?
What, you talking about the shot before the storm?
Yeah, the shot with the ranger and I think there's three of them in frame, just coming out of the blue sky through the arc.
Battles, there's free play.
That is just...
A chance for you to explore solo or with friends.
Yeah, that shot is cool.
Yeah, that is a cool shot.
I'm hoping they can release a HD image of maybe just a few frames back where it's just the three of them there. I'll buy that. I'd buy that for $1.
On a nice metal brush sheet put on the wall.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think it actually it's a good juxtaposition of what we've talked about before when we've way back when the game was just before E3 and they were launching the new trailers. They went through that whole color gamut, that whole new change, the brightness, the yellows, the pinks, the greens. It was a very different trailer from what we saw back in 2017. But the view from that shot, just something really special, I think, and it's very testament to how the colors. I think you've got a wyvern actually in the background there. Is that a wyvern in the background there chasing them, or is that Inti?
No, that's Thick Boy.
It's quite blurred. It's Thick Boy, is it?
Yeah.
It's very blurry. But just that brightness and that change to what we were familiar with in the past. This I think this scene really grabs it nicely.
Uncover answers to your questions.
And then the storm.
Yeah. So there's a few shots in the trailer, if you actually pause quite at different points throughout the trailer, where you get to see some intricate detail of the Storm character that we haven't really seen much before. It was always, remember, because Colossus was playing in the previous trailers, it was always Colossus in game, and we just see Storm fly by, or we'd see the ethereal blue trails smoke by.
That's right.
But this is the first time we could actually see a really good close-up shot of what's happening.
About Anthem and find powerful.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
Nice wooden chest in the middle of nowhere. Very inconspicuous.
How convenient. Now, does it actually? It looks like it spawns something, but it doesn't. Am I seeing things? Does something spawn in, but then the way the camera pans, it conceals whatever it spawns?
Questions about Anthem
I could be going nuts.
Oh no, I think it's like it's you opening the chest.
Okay, right. But you don't get to see what's in the chest. No. I just want to see what's in the chest.
Jara's Wrath.
They can't pull that old fellow out, can they? It's old reliable. What do we do, guys? We're stuck. Put in Jara's Wrath.
Powerful artifacts that could lead you to victory down the road.
XP for Kim.
That is a little bit weird though. Like those type of chests. Like I'm hoping that they don't look like that in game.
Yeah, they don't really look like they're part of the world, right?
No, they don't look like, they've been there for eons and you just happen to stumble across them.
They could take a few cues from God of War there. Remember some of those activities. Remember the God of War activities where you had to get the three blue lights, the three blue dongles hanging down, and you hit those out to get those magical chests, and they were gorgeous and beautiful looking, but the way they were built into the game, you just believe that they were there, like that they were part of whatever they were covered in vines. And so you're right, there's got to be something more to it, I hope, because
Gulliver's Travels left his chest behind, right?
No, you know what happens? Like, you open some chests, it's like when the bank robbers have those bags of money, and there's like dollar signs on them.
Swag bag.
I got loot. Let's hope not for that. Oh good.
Back within the safety of Fort Tarsus is where my story begins.
Nice.
Where my story begins.
So there's the second part of that value prop, my story. And of course the opening scene of Tarsus, which we've seen. I think I've gifted that particular scene of Tarsus a few times on the Twitter sphere, so very familiar with the walking steps.
A richly personal narrative where your choices have consequences.
Mm-hmm.
In this,
just that scene looked amazing. I love it.
Yeah. So if you don't have visual, of course, what are we? We're like an entrance gate or a secondary gate, perhaps, with these beautiful jade almost, they look green shaded, or jade stone, perhaps.
Yeah.
And what are they? Are they sentinels, or are they javelins?
They look like javelins. They look like storms to me.
They do. The left one, the one on the other side, looks more rangery.
Ranger. Yeah.
The one closest to us looks more storm-like. Yeah. Very cool. I've just been walking around that. That'll be awesome.
You'll develop bonds with your pit crew, who can help you prepare for future battles. They're the people in the world who have your back.
I know.
As relationships develop, you'll learn about their pasts and the future they hope to see. Fort Tarsus is ripe for exploration as well. You may even encounter...
So stop here. So what are you starting to see? The underworld of Tarsus.
Yeah, this is obviously the deeper part, right? But Tarsus is clearly built out, because here she literally says, this is where you begin your single player adventure. So it's almost like there's two games, right? There's the single player campaign, which you'll go out and you'll choose how far and how deep you want to go down the rabbit hole, and that was just reaffirmed there, right?
And of course, you're also seeing now. Are you on a shot now where you can see a javelin, a ranger, on display? Yep. So that suit, stood out to me in the first viewing, and I was like, wow. Okay, so what's going on there? Is this like a black market ranger? Is this a certain modifications that have been made to this ranger, or is it just like a museum piece? Like old mate found it out in the trash and just thought he'd hope to make a quick buck for it.
Yeah. It could
Not
be
sure.
all three.
Yeah, but definitely behind a trader. So trader selling a ranger outfit, at least from what we can see.
Could be the microtransaction spot.
Touched a nerve.
Or shadowy figures with questionable character. It all depends on the decisions you make.
Can you stop that?
This is
So shadowy figures with questionable character. I love that. It's so descriptive, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like there may be some dodgy people down here. All right.
real-time storytelling. A reinvention of personal narrative in a multiplayer game.
There was that bit again. Real-time storytelling for single-player narrative in a multiplayer game.
How will they do this? The magic
Yes,
of gaming.
I'm just surprised no one's really caught. And maybe it's just me that's blind, or I'm not, or maybe I'm just so genius that no one else is bringing up the Monster Hunter comparison. Like, I don't understand this.
I think a few people have, but maybe it's just people that haven't played it though. I mean, a lot of people have played it though.
As a freelancer, you are the bridge between the heroic adventures discovered in our world and the personal journey that unravels in my story.
Quite a cool line, that. But look at that! Look at that storm.
What's that?
Can you see storm?
Nah,
Where you pause?
it skipped a bit. I think I'm looking at something that looks very gamey. There's 5 rows of pulsating lights that the ranger is about to dodge.
Oh, you're behind.
Yeah, I'm about a second behind, but there's the storm. Got ya.
Okay.
On it. But there was a very gamey scene, wasn't it? You noticed that scene back there with the ranger? Looked like you're gonna have to be dodging these 5
The
different
key to the fate
things.
of everyone.
Now, was that the storm's ultimate? Is that what we just saw? Did we see the storm's ultimate
The
there?
thunder thing? Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That seemed like it. It looked pretty impressive. What do you think?
It
Are you
looks
sold?
like a ray of lightning.
Yeah, the blues and
Very Halle
purples. Cause you're a thunderstruck. You get to hear that when we play. All right, moving on. Hello.
More big beasts. And a very
Beasts.
depressed Alex staring at his warlock destiny helmet.
Yes, yes, and I think the Colossus that we saw in this battle, it looked like Big Red, but it had it was the white outfit, so I presume it was. Not sure if it was the same one, but if it was what was it the Inferno, the Flamo, the Colossus that they used in the original trailer. Sorry, in the recent trailer, with the Speed Strike. I'm not sure if it's no, maybe not.
Oh, it just looks good. I want to know why we still haven't seen the beast from the original gameplay. You know, the one where
Yeah, right. The King Kong.
the King Kong looking one. We still haven't seen really any gameplay of that yet.
Yeah. Do you think maybe they just it's just something that maybe fell out of the design? Maybe they don't need it.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, they've got the Titan. They've got these creatures. Obviously, they've got the other factions, Scars, Dominions, Outlaws. There's plenty of people.
Yeah.
All right.
It's very Avengers, isn't it?
Yes.
trumpet.
So they've taken.
I'm sort of
They've
waiting for
taken-
Hulk smashes like face to come through the cover.
You're waiting for it. Yeah. But they've extracted a part of the theme, Valor, the freelancer theme. There's a part in there that really engages that symphonic piece that you just noticed, and then it finishes. You say, fade to black, close the curtain, bring out the Hulk.
There's one.
Good tease. What's your score out of 10 for this trailer?
Oh, it's definitely an 8.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely an 8. If there was about 5 more seconds or at least 2 more frames of Interceptor, I'd have probably given it a 9. But no, it's a solid. It's a solid trailer, and it definitely showed off a little bit more of the gameplay features. What everyone think in chat? Well, out of 10, how good? Not that we like to give things numbers.
Apparently, I do. But yeah, it is interesting to think about where things are going to be going from here. A lot of the BioWare employees actually commented on Twitter that I mean, they could just be saying that, but I think a few didn't actually even realize there was a trailer. Some had actually posted it literally like 12 hours later, and they went, "Oh, there's a trailer." So it's quite clear that it wasn't sort of internally promoted. I think we can agree the things we've seen are great. Anjex, you made a comment there that you mentioned it was pretty much what you expected, which is not an unfair comment. Meep Dragonheart reckons 8 out of 10 looks good. And of course, Alan, what are you talking about? Rome Rogue went 8 out of 10. So
8 out of 10. See, solid.
Say the community has spoken. So it's clearly a good 7 or 8 out of 10, I think.
Yep.
2 minutes 39 trailer, so it wasn't a massive trailer, enough to, I guess, wet the taste buds. I think overall I did expect to see more out of Interceptor, and even more from Storm potentially as well. But as it is, we are going to have to really hold on those images that we've got from Storm and Interceptor in those trailers. The ultimate from Storm, and that brief attack run that we saw from Inti is probably all we have to latch onto for the short term. I don't suspect we're going to see any more trailers like this in the near future, but who's to say? Many more media releases, perhaps articles and whatnot coming out of EA, and I'm sure Anthem Universe will be on top of it, as we have been. Mr. Binary Numb, where can we find everything that we need to find for Anthem Universe?
Hang on.
It's for epic adventures across a vast shared landscape.
26 seconds. Ah, they were right. It was in there. At 26 seconds. Yeah, well done.
Touche.
Oh,
Who was that? Was it Anjex mentioned that the gorilla, of course, is at 26 seconds in the trailer.
Oh, Alan found it, yeah. Well done, Alan.
Well said, sir. Well said, sir. But as I said, look, I'm going to wrap this now for this AnthemCast. But as I said, Binary, where can we find you and, of course, the community?
You can find me at Binary Numb, or you can find me at Anthem Universe. You can find us at anthemuniverse.com. You can join the Discord at discord.anthemuniverse.com. And where else can you find us? On YouTube. And you can find us on Stitcher, iTunes, everywhere. Everywhere except your mum's handbag.
That is why, my friend, I meet and greet with you every Sunday for these conversations. Always brings a smile to my face. But as I said, we're going to wrap that up. I am at OGAZ, that's at OH_GAZ. But importantly, as a collective, we are at Anthem Universe on the Twitter sphere. Check out what we've been up to. Check out the feed. If you've missed the PAX panel, jump onto the Anthem Universe YouTube and you can watch the replay of that there. And I'll actually be checking out a couple of interesting points from that today, because there are a few things I clearly had missed in that first watch. And no doubt you are probably sitting there too going, oh my God, I can't believe they didn't talk about this bit. And I agree with you. There's plenty to absorb and probably plenty more to absorb in the coming week. So join the chat. That's discord.anthemuniverse.com. We'll talk more about that in the Discord. And freelancers, we will see you next.
Over the wall.